Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am famous just because I'm 99 years old. I might tell you that when I volunteered on campus in 1943, 44, the Navy recruiter was on campus, and he took one look at me and wouldn't take me because I was the wrong color. And so then I went further into nursing, and Johns Hopkins and Yale University and Case Western Reserve, they all turned me down because I was not the right color. So after my training, I volunteered for the Air Force. And the Air Force took me as a nurse, as a first lieutenant. And so that's where I served in the Philippines and in Japan. So now, that said, I belong, come here, I belong to Nisei Post 8985. And why is it Nisei? There's a Chiang Mai Post that was organized in 1946. Wasn't that what they said?
That's what he said.
Yes, and our post was organized in
February 1947.
Okay, thank you. Yes. And only because the VFW nationwide wouldn't accept us. My brother came home a hero. All these other Nisei fellows were heroes. They all got the Congressional Gold Medal, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, and also the Military Intelligence Service. Have you got something to say other than that? So, and we've been in existence, what, how many years?
75 years this year we've been in existence as a post.
Yes. Now, I want to tell you something else. You've been hearing so much about PTSD. I think to a certain extent we all have PTSD, but mine is a little bit different. And you will know that I was incarcerated in a concentration camp. When Japan dropped the bomb on Pearl Harbor, we all became suspect. And racism was just full-blown. I felt as if I was living in a fog of hate. And so all that resulted in my incarceration at the Poston Camp 2 in the Arizona desert. It was an awful feeling to be on this train leaving, and there's a guard soldier here with his bayonet and one on the other side with a bayonet. And here we were inside this filthy old train going to our concentration camp, which was on the Arizona desert in the temperature through that desert was 127 degrees. I passed out, and thank goodness I woke up again 3 hours later. But anyway, this was another historical moment for me because I had heard that we were going to an Indian reservation. And so they said, I had learned in high school history, all you high school students, that the Indians were well taken care of, and we could hunt and fish and do whatever we want to do. And I thought, goody, goody, we are on our way to an Indian reservation. And I waited and waited for the army truck to get there. We were on the reservation. Nothing but sagebrush and sand and heat. So that was another historical moment that was new to me. And history is taught in high school so wrong. This is why our VFW post goes to schools. We've been going since 1986 to so many thousands, speaking to so many thousands of high school students. And it's interesting that I might tell you, I don't have too much time, but I might tell you their interaction. They said, how come you didn't protest? How come you didn't fight back? Yeah. How come you didn't hire a lawyer? No, we didn't. We just went very quietly and did what we had to do and took care of the children. One thing that I want you to remember is our mantra was for the sake of children. Everything was for kodomo no tameni. My next book will deal with that, kodomo no tameni. So, and one other thing I want to mention, you all talked about PTSD, and I have my special PTSD. When you are to describe the conditions we were in, some of us were sent to Santa Anita racetrack into the horse stalls. Imagine, who would think of such a thing as putting human beings into horse stalls? Families were in horse stalls. In my case, what I had terrible time adjusting to is the latrine. My latrine had 10 holes, 5 back to back, no children's size. And I said, well, I'm going to go in the middle of the night. I did. And everybody else had the same idea. They were there. So anyway, that I still have memories or dreams about looking for the proper latrine or proper toilet. Sometimes it doesn't have a bottom, sometimes it doesn't have running water, sometimes it's just a plain old chamber pot. And all these things appear in my dream. Isn't that interesting? And I think of the children, that our children are going through so much PTSD. Think about it. So anyway, that'll be the focus of my book next time. I've said enough. Come on.
Thank you, Kiyo. I would like to, I need to stand back a little bit, don't I? I would like to mention that we have display panels on our booth, which is back in the northwest corner of this area. And on those display panels, it tells about the story of the Japanese people, mostly Japanese Americans, all living here in California that ended up in these concentration camps, all the way from the President's Declaration to the recruiting of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team and the 100th Infantry Battalion, and on to present day with reparations and let's call it honors, including the gold medal of the Congressional Gold Medal. So those stories are on the panels in the back here. Please come and look at them, and we'll talk to you. And Kiyo will be there to tell more stories about her experiences in those times and today. She's our Speakers Bureau chairman, has been for many years, and as it turns out, all of the compatriots that were in the Speakers Bureau have now passed away because they are all in the same year group, all about Kiyo's age. And we have a few people helping to start that are youngsters like me in my 70s and earlier, to keep up the march, to continue to tell the story of the Nisei veterans in World War II and thereafter. So thank you very much for your attention, and back to our MC. Thank you.
Thank you.